Do many people who watch Gory Story Time even remember what VHS was?
Depends on their age.
Isn't found footage dead as a genre?
Depends on if it's done well.
So a movie about videotapes is exclusive to a streaming service?
Yep.
All this and more on Gory Story Time.
Warning. Gory Story Time is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Story Time. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And this week we're doing our second of, and they're not a sponsor, trust me. You would actually have more money.
That'd be really cool.
It'd be nice, but Shudder exclusive movies. Either the four that we are going to do, they either produced themselves in some way, or they got exclusive rights to the streaming.
Right. So one way or another, the only place to find them other than DVD is on their streaming
This one
service.
was a Shudder original, so they backed it. I think there's other ones that it's more they just paid for the exclusive streaming rights
After the fact. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is VHS 99. We've reviewed a few VHS movies, not all of them. This is the 5th installment. Or at least he doesn't think he's seen all of them, which is weird to me, but
I don't, but it's whatever. Especially if this is 5.
it is.
Yeah, I definitely
There's
haven't
VHS,
seen 4 of them.
VHS 2, VHS Viral, VHS 94, and then this, and more in the future as we know. But anyway, so like the other ones, you don't have to watch them in any particular order as far as from movie to movie, because they're all individual stories, the anthology series, where they'll tell 4 or 5 stories per movie and then have a wraparound for those stories.
Yeah.
They figured they don't need to do that anymore. They still have the wraparound, but they don't really need to have them connect, because it's just here's 5 more messed up things that were caught on tape.
Which is
Fine.
works.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But that means say if one of them was, I think, Viral, we didn't care for.
I remember one of them I didn't care for.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
1 and 2 we liked. I think Viral we didn't care for. And then, but we, enjoyed this. So there you go. Same with the first and third Tales from the Hood. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's not really anything to say other than it's someone put in a tape and 5 very different found footage situations were on this cassette.
Yes.
That's basically it. And we're just watching these 5 different things. And it was all stuff recorded over top of a kid had been making his army men
Fight.
stop motion fight
Yeah.
with a camcorder. And I did that stupid stuff when I was a kid because I had a camcorder.
I never had the time
Or a camcorder.
or the care.
Well, you're also not very inventive. You'd rather sit back and watch other people's thoughts on a screen than have to come up with them.
Yeah.
That's about all I can say.
Basically.
The premise is there's 5 found
Unrelated
footage
stories to each other that
Yeah.
are found footage. And the story is someone puts in a VHS tape and watches it.
And that would be us, except
It was
we
the
watched
DVD.
it on DVD, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The House of Lies.
so why don't we throw it to a trailer so you can get a peek at what these stories might look like anyway.
This is a very special episode.
Spend the night in a coffin.
Lily! Lily!
The faster you breathe, the faster you use up your air, so you can't panic.
We have ourselves a winner!
Play or die! Play or die!
Alrighty.
Yeah, I don't know that all of that was in the movie.
There are deleted scenes on the
Oh.
DVD too.
Okay.
I didn't watch those because it wasn't part of what we were reviewing. We're reviewing the released version. All right. Anything else you want to say before we really
I mean,
get
go
started?
watch it if that's available to you.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
got it on DVD, so that's available to everybody who has money.
I mean, there's a section at a store that we won't name, but it's
a store near us.
a large box store,
Yes.
and they have a section of DVDs that seem to all be from Shudder or Shudder exclusive. They had a wing where we went.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true of all of them, but most of them are set up similarly
Similarly,
to have
so that it doesn't confuse people.
the difference being the size might mean they have more or a little less, but basically. Anyway, before we get into the behind the scenes information, what we're really here for
Yes.
is to make money. And the only way we can do that,
Prostitution.
basically, we sell ourselves to corporations and then we tell you to go purchase their things,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
I think we're what? Pushers?
No, we're just we're the prostitutes.
Okay.
Like they're paying us, and
But we're somehow still a middleman.
I mean, aren't prostitutes the middle women or some or men between the John and the pimp?
I guess.
Well,
All right.
except the middleman does all the work, like this. Anyway, what we did is we put it out there that we want to be sponsored, and these big corporations came and they gave us 50 pesos for every letter that we read today.
Oh, boy.
So that's how we make it big. 50 pesos per letter. This week, the show is brought to you by, Gory Story Time is brought to you by The Big Book of Nope. The book full of true stories about the things that make you say, nope. Read about the man who trains venomous spiders, or you might prefer the one about the woman who only traveled to places known to be demon-possessed. And who can forget the one about children that were used to climb up chimneys and clean them from the inside, causing them to die of lung disease. The Big Book of Nope, coming soon. Warning, do not attempt to copy any of the stories in the Big Book of Nope, because nope.
Duh. All right. And by Movie Palace. Are you sick of paying for 5 to 6 streaming services that have a ton of stuff that you couldn't care less about? Wouldn't it be nice to find movies individually? Then come to Movie Palace. We are a store that, for a small fee, will loan you a movie, and then you return it to us instead of cluttering your home. Sound too good to be true? Not at Movie Palace. We're kind of like streaming with extra work.
All right. Sounds like a video store to me, but whatever.
Video store.
Call it what you want.
What's a video store? Like Blockbuster?
Well, I think there still is one.
One, and I think
In
it's like what, in Alaska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, also not a sponsor because it'd be weird if they had
What, Alaska? Yeah,
financial
we're not
ability
sponsored
to-
by Alaska.
No. By a video store I hated because they didn't have the swinging doors that went to the special back room. They didn't allow that. And
Okay.
well, back then, there wasn't streaming that for free on the internet. I'm just saying.
Whatever.
You had to go back there and not make eye contact with other people while you looked.
Gross.
All right, let's get into the meat and beef of the show.
Or as I like to call it, the meat and beef of the show.
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to? It doesn't really matter to me.
I can go first.
Go right ahead.
The 5th installment of the VHS franchise. The segments are titled Shredding, Suicide Bid, Ozzy's Dungeon, The Gawkers, and To Hell and Back.
VHS 99 was rushed into production after the success of VHS 94, much like VHS 2 was right after the original. Production took 5 months.
The To Hell and Back segment not only features the writer and actors from Deadstream, but the golem-like creature from the woods can briefly be seen as the characters run through the hellscape.
In the audience of Ozzy's Dungeon, a member of the audience is holding up a sign that shows the Hansa from the filmmaker's film Deadstream.
The first segment, Shredding, is a horror twist on CKY videos from the 90s that turned into Jackass and its spin-offs, Wild Boys and Viva La Bam, etc.
Et cetera. There's no k.
Etc.
Nope. Anyway, learn to speak.
Espresso.
Ozzy's Dungeon is a take on classic Nickelodeon game shows like Double Dare and Legends of the Hidden Temple with a violent twist.
Ooh. In the segment Shredding, there's a band created specifically for VHS 99 called Bitch Cat. There's a full music video on the band on the DVD release.
I don't know if it's streaming. We don't happen to have that streaming service, so.
But it was there for us.
Yes. Trevor and Leo of the Bloody Disgusting's Boo Crew podcast host the commentary on the DVD.
That's cool. Married couple Vanessa and Joe Winter wrote and directed the segment To Hell and Back. They got the job off the success of their previous horror comedy, Deadstream.
Yeah. Well, they kept bringing up that they did Deadstream. It's like, I get it. And if you look it up on IMDb, like it suggests that one. If it's like, if you like this, you'll probably like this. And it's like the second choice, which is weird. You think it would be the first choice because you think it'd
probably check that out.
We should, because we ended up enjoying this. The filmmakers said the more comedic nature of this installment was a coincidence. The writers and directors each made their own segment, not knowing what the others were doing.
Makes sense. Just before the video becomes the first segment, you see that it's recorded over the Veggie Masher commercial from VHS 94.
There are actual clips of Ryan Dunn from Jackass at the beginning of the Shredding segment from his CKY days. So just rare footage of him when he was little or young.
There's a random clip of turtles having sex from one of the editor's home movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
Now, I don't record turtles having sex. So
if you had a
into,
camcorder and you're walking along and you see
turtles having sex,
you're not going to turn the camera on.
It. I'm not a weird person who wants videos
I would,
of animal
and
sex.
I would send you the video.
I believe that.
I mean, there was one that went viral on digital because of the noise it made, and it was with a shoe.
It was with a shoe.
Anyway, the DVD commentary was recorded over Skype.
Skype?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that existed anymore after that other one.
Well, it was due to the pandemic.
Nice. The spiders in Suicide Bid were all real, no CGI. The director was scared of them, but his toddler daughter loved spiders and put one in her mouth. They decided that had to be in the movie.
So a character does end up with a spider in their mouth.
Yes.
Most of the glitches on the film are real. They filmed on modern cameras and 90s cameras, put it on VHS before they transferred it to computer to get the authentic look of the static and all those things. Like, those are real glitches in the tape.
Nice. The writer/director of Ozzy's Dungeon is a guy who goes by the name Flying Lotus. He is known as a composer, including an episode of Salad Fingers.
Salad Fingers I never got into,
It's
but I know
all
you liked it.
up on YouTube.
Yeah,
That is also something you could look up and check out.
We're not reviewing it, though, because we would have very different opinions.
We could.
There's horror-ish elements
There's
to
horror-ish stuff on a lot of those
yeah.
YouTube things. We should do those one of these times.
But it's not movies. That would be weird. Anyway.
Oh, Dexter wasn't a movie, and we did it. So
I mean, we did TV
4
series.
TV series,
sure.
right. So
Anyway. All right. There was a little bit of glitch in the computer.
Yes.
It crashed, froze, whatever.
see, what happened is we recorded this episode on VHS and then uploaded it to the computer.
Yes, so that's why there was a glitch there. No. Anyway, as I was about to say, when the computer decided I shouldn't,
Yeah.
the bell on the string in suicide bid segment is a real thing called a Bateman device. A bell is tied to a string that goes into a coffin, so if you're buried alive by mistake, you can let someone know that you are alive.
Makes sense. It took 8 hours to apply the Medusa makeup in Gawkers. The actress had a headpiece with all the snakes, but they were changed digitally after shooting in some shots.
Poorly, unfortunately, but
Very poorly.
and finally, in To Hell and Back, the writer-directors tried to lean on the horror so it wouldn't come across as corny. Because it takes place in hell, it would be really easy to go corny and have people laugh hurting the story.
And
Yes.
lastly, in the factual part,
Rotten Tomatoes.
they exist.
They take what they're supposed to do is take all the critics that have watched this reviews, and they're supposed to tell you if the percentage that were positive out of however many there is.
Yes.
And they also allow the people to vote positive or negative and then give you that percentage.
Yes.
With horror and with comedy, like we like to point out, they tend to be higher numbers for the people. But this week, the critics have it at.
Yeah, we keep shocking ourselves with this, but 77% with the critics, which is a passing grade.
Yeah. So is 69%. It's a passing grade, but not as good. That's what the people have it at. So that's a little odd. Again, like every once in a while,
is.
lately there seems to be more of it, but usually that's not the way it goes. Usually the higher number is
like
the
it
people.
takes something really huge for the critics to have it that high too.
Or it has to have like messaging that they agree
Yep.
with. You know what I
Yep.
mean? But this is not a message film.
This is not a message film,
Not at all.
unless the message
There is some 90s
raw
nostalgia
with
stuff
the
throughout with the
toys.
CKY and the Nickelodeon and
Jumping on the nostalgia train.
I mean they don't call it Nickelodeon, but let's be honest.
Come on, it was Nickelodeon.
It was Legends of the Hidden Temple meets Double Dare, where you only win if you survive.
yeah, it was
basically.
called
Like,
Double Temple Survival.
no, it was called Ozzy's Dungeon,
I know.
dummy. But all right, so 69 for the people and
And
77.
77 of the critics.
So
Yes.
when we do these anthology movies, we've decided instead of picking our favorite scene and least favorite scene, because there's multiple stories, we would just say our favorite and least favorite segment.
Yes.
And since we enjoyed this film, we're going to start with our least favorite. And I know for a fact that we both feel the same way about this one.
Yes.
My least favorite, I'll go first.
Yep.
And you can jump in,
Yep.
is shredding.
It sucks.
I don't mind the show Jackass. I like it. I like the movies.
I haven't watched much of the
Wild
show, but I
Boys
bet I
was
would.
similar, but it involved animals. Whatever. Viva La Bam sometimes went
Just
overboard.
Bam doing
but,
it, and
well, no, he had a different crew that was part of that.
Oh.
Basically, yeah, he had his uncle and his parents all the time on the show.
he was so bad to them.
Anyway, it's okay. It's not like we didn't hate it so much that we couldn't get through it to the next thing.
Right, which is good because it was the start.
But that said, out of all of them, it was definitely the least.
It was lacking.
It was. I mean, it was pretty, like, the basic story that they were told for why they went where they went was generic.
Yeah.
What happened was kind of generic. It was just, but we caught it on film.
Right.
Yeah. All right. What was, you want me to go first or what was your favorite?
My favorite was To Hell and Back.
Really? Okay.
I really liked it. I thought the the story or whatever they were going for, where it was like a 2K whatever celebration because it was about to be 2000.
Yep.
And their celebration was they
Summon a
got
demon.
around and one of them signed up to be the conduit for a demon.
Yes.
And it's like, that's a really cool idea. And then they get
Not in
portaled
reality.
to hell.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you mess with demons.
Yeah, don't.
You end up in hell, and then you're like, this is awful.
They weren't complaining about the hate nearly as much as I bet they would be, but
Okay, well, there's that.
yeah, it
Mine
great.
was probably Ozzy's Dungeon.
Also a whole lot of fun.
Because not only was the revenge aspect of it great, and like whoever played the mother, like I know people like her.
Yep.
I've met the exact attitude. Like this actress nailed that characterization.
That found footage.
Anyway, so very big fan.
Yeah.
Plus, I was a teenager in the early 90s. I turned 10 in 88, so what, 12? Like in 91, I would have been 13. So like legitimately, my teen years were watching these type of shows.
And
You
some
know,
of
Double
my,
Dare was in the late 80s was
some
when
of
it
my
started,
younger
but it went
years,
for
you
years.
showed me these shows, and
Yeah,
I get it.
There used to be a Nickelodeon Games and Sports channel. They called it
Yeah.
Nick Gas, and they would play reruns
cool.
of like their old game shows and stuff.
and they started bringing stuff back.
And there were just a lot of little things where it's like, this is the perfect Nickelodeon game show that never existed, but everything about it says it's exactly right.
Even the cussing.
Plus the, violence.
Yes.
That part wasn't as realistic, but you had to make it a horror thing.
Right.
But so I would just say, because I was the right age for the thing, it was kind of satirizing,
Yes.
not satiring,
Cauterizing?
satirizing,
Yeah.
not cauterizing.
Okay.
You're gonna need some cauterizing if I'm done with you. If you keep flapping your lip, no.
Yeah, all right. Well,
Anyway, yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, or wait, did you say yours? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, to hell and
Okay.
back. So on a scale of 1 to 10,
I'm going to give this a 7.
I am too.
It's definitely rewatchable.
It's above average, absolutely.
It's
Glad we own it. Now we can
better
watch it
than
again.
3, I think, was the one I
Yeah,
didn't
Viral.
like. Yeah. I don't believe that I've seen
94.
what would be 4, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to.
I will have to.
We'll have to pick it up and
Yeah.
we're going to a place that'll probably have it tomorrow, or no,
Not
Sunday.
tomorrow, but yeah.
Anyway,
Exciting.
yeah. So I'm going to agree though. 7 out of 10.
Yes. And then that's
Definitely
all
watch
of
it is
the-
basically
Definitely
it.
watch it. Definitely watch this.
And now,
The stuff there. Okay. So you're going to go to Fact TV channel 1082 Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m. to watch this very show.
you can check out Fact TV and Gory Story Time on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like and whatever.
Do all
you know,
those things.
Follow, whatever.
You can go to factate.com, watch a bunch of back episodes of this, as well as probably hundreds of thousands of hours of videos.
Sure. I mean, this town
It's
does
a lot.
put out a lot more than
And
a
it's,
lot of the
like
local channels.
overwhelmingly entertaining.
More than many
More than
areas.
many other areas.
I will say, I mean, what was the other thing? Oh, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase.
Yes, I'm at Jiggly Firm Brain, which is also him on Twitter. I tweet things that he says that I find funny, in or out of context.
And, just type in Gory Story Time on YouTube. The things that'll pop up is mine and Fact TV's channels. Like, subscribe to both.
Yes, indeed. And until next time, I've been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig,
And sweet dreams.